Vandeham Sri Guru Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavang.
Hello everyone, welcome to 40th episode of Pariprashna, wherein we are going to discuss chapters 6 and 7 of Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam today. So chapter 6 is titled Creation of the Universal Form and chapter 7 is titled Further Inquiries by Vidura. So a quick recap so you know where we are and what has happened in the last episode or so. So what happened in chapter number 5 was that Vidura met Maitreya on the bank of the Ganges in Haridwar. And he happened to start off his series of questions by asking what is the cause of suffering of all the jivas. And then he goes on to ask about Purushavasaras, the different living forms, Leelavataras, the different planets, and various other questions. And as a way of answering those questions, the great sage Maitreya, he begins by talking about Karana Srishti, how Mahavishnu, Karanodakshai Vishnu, he glances over Pradhana and that gives rise to Mahat Tattva and he creates 23 various elements, the material elements. But however, although he created the elements, there was nothing much happening. So they were quite inactive. So that is where we see there are also presiding deities, the controlling deities, the demigods who are in charge of these various elements, and they offer their heartfelt prayers towards the last section of chapter 5, where they are meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is where we are going to continue today in chapter number 6. So without further ado, let us go ahead and together inquire and gain all the wonderful insights from the wisdom of His Holiness Bhakti Padma Saurabh Pracharak Swami Maharaj. So Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, right in the beginning of chapter 6, so let me quote the exact verse and then ask the question. Yeah. Rishiruvacha iti tasam svashaktinam satinam asametya saha prasupta lokatantranam nishamya gatimishvaraha. The Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative functions of the universe due to the non-combination of his potencies such as the Mahatattva. So Maharaj, why is everything so inert? Why is everything stalled even after the Lord created the various material elements? And then we see it is only by the will of the Lord that everything becomes active. So how do we understand this?
It is very simple. Like you want to make some eatable, some item. You have all the ingredients, but just by ingredients, you cannot make the recipe. You have to have consciousness who mixes the ingredients appropriately to make the recipe.
Okay.
So ingredients are created, but you require consciousness who enters into those ingredients to make the recipe. So in the previous chapters, ingredients were all created, but now the Lord has to enter into the ingredients to make this world function properly. Otherwise, it is of no use. Like for example, you may ask, I want to eat dal and rice. So if somebody gives you dal and rice, and then can you eat it?
No.
It has to be cooked. For cooking, you need to have consciousness. How much water to put to boil, how much to boil, what masala to be put in the dal, when to put the chop. So without consciousness, matter is always dead, like this body. This body is always dead. Because of the presence of consciousness, the body seems to be alive. In the same way, when the Lord enters into the elements as Paramatma, they are as Brahman, then the elements, they mix appropriately and give different flavors or different tastes or different functions are possible. Different qualities are manifested because of that. Otherwise, it is not possible.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay. So Maharaj, in the next verse, कालसंज्ञां तदा देवीं बिभ्रच्छक्तिम् उरुक्रमः त्रयोविंशतितत्त्वानां गणं युगपदाविशत्. The Supreme Powerful Lord, when simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements. So, Maharaj, what is this Bibrat Shakti, and why is there reference to Kali or Kala here?
So, actually, the energy of Krishna is personified by a goddess. That goddess is Durga.
Okay.
So, appearing through time, then Kala and Kali both are actually having the same terminology. So, Bibrat Shakti, this Bibrat Shakti refers to actually Kala. Now, you have consciousness, but at the same time, you require the time energy also to mix things.
Okay.
Like, for example, you have to make dal. Now, you require a conscious person who makes the dal. But you have to stir. In cooking, you need to stir. So, that mixing happens by the process of stirring. You require a ladle to stir. What is that ladle? That is Kala.
Okay.
The Kala Shakti. So you have Kali or the personification of material energy. At the same time, you have the time energy, and you have the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, who uses the time energy to mix the elements, because water, like for example, your glass of water. But this water is not just water, it is a mixture of earth, water, fire, air, ether. All five elements are there. The water content is more, but mixture is there. So without mixture is of no use. Like I gave the example in the previous class also. I don't know whether in this class or some other class. Like you say, I want oxygen. So if you give pure oxygen without mixing with inert gas, you will die. So it has to be mixed. Then only oxygen is of some use. Without mixing, you cannot use those elements. That is why through time, the energy of time, then the Lord entered the elements to mix the elements so that it is of some use.
Okay. Yeah, you did quote this example in the previous episode of Pariprashna Maharaj. So, Maharaj, now in shloka number 4, the creation of the universal form is being mentioned. Prabuddha karma daivena trayo vimshatiko ganaha prerito janayat swabhir matrabhir adipurusham. When the 23 principal elements were set in action by the will of the Supreme, the gigantic universal form or the Vishwarupa body of the Lord came into existence. So, Maharaj, this is the fourth time that Virat Rupa is being mentioned. So, the first time we heard was in chapter 1 of Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where in explaining the Ashtanga Yoga process, Sukadeva Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, for the neophyte devotee, the object of meditation is Virat Rupa. And then in the middle of second canto, I think in sixth chapter, again Virat Rupa was discussed. But there, how all the elements are coming from the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, that was mentioned. And then again to the end of Canto 2, that is in chapter 10, Vishwarupa was mentioned, where the gross and the subtle bodies of the jiva are formed because of their desire. So that was elaborately discussed there. And now in the sixth chapter of Canto 3, again here it is mentioned these 23 elements by the will of the Lord, it formed into the gigantic universal form. So here in this context, what is the purpose of the description of universal form?
So the universal forms are described at many places. In the second canto, in the third canto. Of course, it comes in the further cantos also. As I told previously, whenever this word universal form is heard, we should know there are two categories of universal forms. One is the spiritual universal form, which is known as Paramatma. There are three. There are three Purusha avatars. They are Karanodaksh Vishnu, Garbhodaksh Vishnu, and Kshirodaksh Vishnu. They are also called universal forms. But apart from that, there is one more universal form, which is the material universal form of the Lord. which is shown by Krishna himself to Arjuna. He showed it to even Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra also. So this is the material universal form which is temporary, and that is meant for neophytes. It is not that the Mahavishnu form of the Lord is meant for neophytes and it is material. No, it is not material. Now, why it has been described? Because when you see the material world coming from the spiritual form, then that spiritual form is Mahavishnu, etc. Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksh Vishnu, Kshirodaksh Vishnu. But when you see the matter itself as God, when the material world itself as God, that is called the material spiritual, material universal form. Why is it that it is described many times about how this material world is God? Is to show that this material world is God's energy, is Krishna's energy. So that a person comes to an understanding that matter is energy. Matter is not just matter, it is energy. So it is energy of whom? Energy of God. So those who are materialistic, to bring them to the platform of Adi Daiva means there is something superior to my understanding of matter. So this is what the scientists, they try to analyze matter and try to understand matter. So to bring them to an understanding that this matter is controlled by someone. It is not just existing like that. Like you have iron, you have silver, you have copper. The scientists talk about the qualities. Now, these qualities are manifest how? How these qualities, distinction is there? Where did it come from? It is coming from the person, consciousness. There is a consciousness behind it. So to bring those materialistic people to the level of Adidaiva, there is some controller behind matter. So these descriptions are given so that they understand matter is energy. When Einstein brought this principle of explaining that matter is energy, E equal to mc square, it created a big revolution in modern science, but they had to accept that there is something, some deeper understanding of matter than whatever we have an understanding, whatever understanding we have. So that's the reason the universal form, the material universal form are described again and again.
Okay. So quoting the 6th verse here, Hiranmayasa Purushaha Sahasra Parivatsaran Andakosha Uvasapsu Sarvasatvopa Brahmitaha. The gigantic Virat Purusha, known as Hiranmaya, lived for 1000 celestial years on the water of the universe, and all the living entities lay with him. And the next verse, स वै विश्वसृजां गर्भो देवकर्मात्मशक्तिमान् विबभाजात्मनात्मानम् एकदा दशदा त्रिधा. The total energy of the Mahatattva in the form of the gigantic Virat Rupa divided himself by himself into the consciousness of the living entities, the life of activity, and self-identification, which are subdivided into 1, 10, and 3 respectively. So what is this Ekada, Dashada, and Trida, Maharaj? He divided himself by himself and then subdivided into 1, 10, and 3.
Yeah. So in order to produce the organs such as mouth, etc., etc., first the three Shaktis are described. So these three Shaktis are like this: the Prana, Jiva Shakti, Prana Shakti, and the Atma Shakti. Then he divided himself by himself. There is one Jiva Shakti and 10 Prana Shaktis and 3 Atma Shaktis. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this thing. That is, one, when he says one, it is Jiva Shakti. When you say 10, it refers to Prana Shakti. Prana, we have 10 kinds of pranas: Prana, Apana, Udana, Samana, Vayana, like that. And then there are 3 Atma Shakti. three kinds of Atma Shakti. So this is what is been described here, which is going to come in the further verses.
Right. So the three Atma Shaktis later, like you said, Prabhupada is explaining it's Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, Adi Bautika, correct?
Yeah, Adhyatma, Adhibhota.
Okay. So Maharaj, why repeatedly, especially in this chapter, I was seeing Prabhupada keeps comparing modern scientists and mental speculators to this Dr. Frog. So these people have PhD. In fact, in the 10th verse purport, Prabhupada is humorously writing PhD stands for, what is that? PhD can also be interpreted as plow department, a title meant for the tillers in the paddy field. The attempt of the tillers in the paddy field to understand the cosmic manifestation and the cause behind such wonderful work can be compared to the endeavor of the frog in the well to calculate the measurement of the Pacific Ocean. So why does Prabhupada repeatedly compare this to Dr. Frog philosophy?
Yeah, I've already explained that point, that I brought the concept to the modern science understanding of matter.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding of matter is actually the basis of understanding God, because what we can perceive in this world is matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't see Krishna, you see his energy. So analyzing Krishna's energy, which is matter, gives an understanding about Krishna. So the perfect understanding of matter is in Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Forget about spiritual, even material. But understanding of matter is nicely explained in Bhagavatam, in the Vedic literatures. But the scientists, they depend on their mental speculation to understand matter. And that is why they are not able to understand even material world. Like a frog in the well is trying to understand what is Pacific Ocean, being in the well. So all the scientists, they are in the well of mental speculation. They are in the well of mental speculation and trying to understand what the Pacific Ocean is. The knowledge of matter itself is so vast, like Pacific Ocean. Forget about spiritual, even knowledge of matter. What is matter? That itself is very confusing for the materialistic people, in spite of all their analysis. Many of the scientists, they have told that the more we do research, we are exploring our ignorance. The more we know about matter, the more we are able to know that how much we don't know. So why is it so? Because they are just into mental speculation. They are spaced out. So they go to the space and get spaced out. They have no idea. If you ask a question to those who are going to the space, you go up and up and up and up. Where will you go? What is the end? Can anybody say? Okay, somebody says this is the end out of the speculation. What is above that then? So they don't have, the first problem with the scientists is they don't accept that there are higher dimensions in existence. When you have one straight line, it is one dimension. When you have a paper which is having two dimensions, length and breadth. When you have a room, it has got three dimensions. When you can have one dimension, first dimension, second dimension, three dimensions. You can have 4D also. You can use, and you're conditioned by the C3D, like the well, and you are thinking of Pacific Ocean, which is multi-dimensional in one sense. That's why they're called frogs.
Okay. So Maharaj, in the next section, which is quite a big chunk in this chapter, that is shlokas 11 to 26, we hear about a fascinating process where the manifestation of four different things are talked about. So first we see there is the gross sense organ, which is coming from the universal form. And then second, it is followed by a corresponding subtle senses. And then the number 3, there is an associated sense object also. And then number 4, there is a presiding demigod who governs the functioning of these senses and the interaction between them. So, if you can please explain how we should understand this very intricate framework, maybe I'll just give a couple of examples for the audience to understand. For example, the gross organ is mouth, and then the controlling deity for that is fire, Agni. Then the subtle sense organ is voice, Vacha. And then the sense object is expressing oneself in words. Similarly, the next is palate or Talu, that is the gross organ. The controlling deity is Varuna. And the subtle sense organ is tongue, Jihva. And then the sense object, Tanmatra, is to taste everything. So, like this, various other things are talked about. So, how do we understand this nicely, Maharaj, this whole intricate framework?
You have Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, and Adhideva. Now, these Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, and Adhideva. Adhibhuta has got two aspects to it. Bhuta means objects. So you have the sense instrument and sense object. And you have Adhyatma, that is a sense, and Adhideva is a controlling deity. Like, for example, you have eyes. Now, what is the eye? The moment I ask you, where is your eye? You indicate, this is my eye. But this is not the eye. This is the eyeball. This is a sense instrument. Instrument of the eye is called eyeball.
Okay.
And eyeball is only instrument for seeing what? An object, that is called the form. So this form is an object has a form, and you're using this ball, which is totally both are gross. That is why it is known as Adhibhuta. Adhyatma is actually the sense. The eye is the sense, the subtle. Like, for example, I'll ask you a question. That is, does a cow have hands?
No, it doesn't.
Cow doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
Doesn't. But if you give grass to the cow, will it take or not?
It will.
Isn't it? It takes. How does it take?
Through the mouth.
How does a cow? To the mouth. So now, if the cow is able to take from your hands, that means it has hands. It has hands, but it is using the mouth as an instrument. Using the mouth as an instrument. So, if you are able to distinguish between the senses and the sense instrument, then these verses will be very clear.
Okay.
So you should know the senses are there. Even amoeba also has all the senses.
Okay.
Though it doesn't have all the sense instruments perfectly manifest. But for example, somebody is blind. Now the person goes to the doctor checks the eyeball, and he says eyes are perfect, but still not able to see. There's no problem with the eyeball at all, because he is not blessed with the eyes. The subtle eye is not, the demigod has not blessed the person with that particular sense, even though his eyeball is proper. Now, many times it so happens, somebody don't have eyeballs. They're blind externally, but they can catch a running local train. I've seen with my own eyes. They don't have eyeballs at all, but they have eyes. They are using the skin and the ears as the instrument for the eye.
Wow.
So in this way, you have the previous example I gave. Though he has eyeballs, he is not able to see because he's not blessed by the demigod. If he is blessed by the demigod, Though he doesn't have eyeballs, he's able to see. That's the thing. In this way, you have all the four things everywhere. That is the demigod, the senses, the sense instrument, sense objects.
So, Maharaj, how does this elaborate description in Bhagavatam help us move away from seeing the senses as our own? It's actually not our own. It is lent to us. It is like you said, how do we come to the level of understanding that these are instruments entrusted to us to be engaged in the service of the Lord?
It is very easy because nothing is under your control.
Yes, absolutely.
If it is yours, it should be under your control. We think that everything is under control, but nothing is under control. So that shows that it doesn't belong to you. If it belongs to you, it should be under your control. Isn't it? That's the reason.
Universal form is, the way it is structured. Here in the 27th verse, it is said, Shirshnosya Dyaurdhara Padbhyam Kamna Ber Upapadyata Gunanam Vrittayo Yeshu Pratiyante Suradayah. Thereafter, from the head of the gigantic form, the heavenly planets were manifested, and from his legs, the earthly planets, and from his abdomen, the sky separately manifested themselves. Within them, the demigods and others also were manifested in terms of the modes of material nature. So, Maharaj, here it is said, from the head of the universal form came the heavenly planets, from his legs, the earthly planets, and from his abdomen, the sky. Usually, we say from the abdomen, from the middle part is the earthly planet, and from the legs, the lower planetary system. So, is this correct that to say that from his legs, the earthly planets are coming?
Yeah, in the context of these words, the earth, above earth is the Bhuvarloka and then Swarloka.
Oh, like that.
So when you're talking about just these three, then it is the legs, abdomen, and
Okay.
so if you're when you say this earth, it refers to earth and lower planetary system also.
I see. Okay.
When you say Bhuvarloka, it refers to the region between the Swarga, earth, Bhur, Bhuvar, the middle planets, that is as Bhuvarloka. And then Swarga implies Swarga and above, because what happened was, we discussed in the previous chapters that the Lord Brahma divided first the world into three.
Okay.
And then he thought it is not enough. So he divided again to 14. That is there in the previous chapters. So here, what is being described is Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Bhu Bhuva Swaha. Bhu refers to all the planets which are from Earth to lower. And Bhuva refers to the middle space. And Swarga refers to all the higher planet system. We say three lokas. Mulloka. Three loka means what? Bhurvaswa, and it was not enough, and then it became 14 planets.
Okay. So from the planetary systems, now we move to the manifestation of the Varnas, the social structure from the universal form. Mukato vartata brahma purushasya kurudvaha yastun mukhatvad varnana mukyo bhut brahmano guruhu. O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of the Virat, the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are the natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society. I'll read the next three as well, just the translation maybe. Thereafter, the power of protection was generated from the arms of the gigantic Virat form, and in relation to such power, the Kshatriyas also came into existence by following the Kshatriya principle of protecting society from the disturbance of thieves and miscreants. Verse 32. The means of livelihood of all persons, namely production of grains and their distribution to the prajas, was generated from the thighs of the Lord's gigantic form. The mercantile men who take charge of such execution are called Vaishyas. And then finally, thereafter, service was manifested from the legs of the personality of Godhead for the sake of perfecting the religious function. Situated on the legs are the Shudras who satisfy the Lord by service. So, Maharaj, this Varna system in today's world is one of the most misunderstood concepts. So, how should we understand that this Varna system is not as a matter of birth or hierarchy? It's not even material actually, but it's an organic spiritual arrangement that is for harmony in the society. So, how can we understand this nicely?
Once Srila Prabhupada was in Russia, only once he visited, and he had a conversation with Kotowski. So then he was asking many questions, and Prabhupada answered in just one line, and then he was defeated. All the arguments were defeated, and he was convinced of many things. So when you are getting defeated and you're getting the perfect answer to all your questions, then you try to change the subject. Then once he asked, that Kotosi said that Swamiji, we believe everything is nature. There is no creator. Everything is just nature. Then Srila Prabhupada asked him, whose nature? When you say nature, somebody's nature is it. Then he was defeated. Just one line was enough to defeat. Then he changed the subject. When you do the grass hopping, that means you get defeated, you change the subject. Okay, that's fine. But you have a caste system. Then Srila Prabhupada said, do we have intelligent people in Russia? It was, we have intelligent people in Russia. Then he asked, do you have the administrative class? Yes, we have administrative class. We have the army, we have the KGB. Then he asked, do you have mercantile people in your country? Yes, we have Chamber of Commerce and all. We have mercantile people. Do you have the working class? Yeah, we have a huge working class. Then Prabhupada said, you also have caste system. So, if you say Varnashrama Dharma as caste system, then everybody, it is there everywhere around the world. You cannot have a society without these four classes. Society is divided into these four classes. When you say society, it should be there. But the problem is, these four classes, when they follow dharma, their dharma, not just vritti, then it is called Varnashrama Dharma. So, what has happened is, people are given up dharma and they just took up the vritti as dharma. No, there is a lot of difference vritti, occupation, and responsibility which you accept by doing that occupation. Like, for example, when you say he's a very good doctor, what does it mean?
Good doctor, he is expert in his field. He gives like really good treatment that is customized to you. He understands your nature.
He's so expert that you don't even know he has stolen the kidney.
Oh.
So he's a very expert doctor. Means in vritti is very expert, but dharma.
Okay.
So Varnashrama Dharma is a responsibility of a particular occupation. It's not just occupation. It's a responsibility you take on your head by doing your occupational service. So you have Brahmanas, vritti, because you're teachers around the world. Even in Russia, you're teachers. Even in Sweden, also you're teachers. But they are doing the occupation of a teacher, but they are not accepted responsibility of being a teacher. That is called dharma. There is a difference between these two, and it is very difficult for a person to explain, for us to explain, and for people to understand.
So on one hand, Maitreya Rishi is expressing his humility. In fact, he's saying, "Oh Vidura, who can estimate or measure the transcendental time, work, and potency of the gigantic form manifested by the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead?" But interestingly, in the very next verse, he goes on to say, "Tatapi kirtayamyanga yatha mati yata shrutam kirtim hare swam satkartum giram anyabhidasatim." In spite of my inability, whatever I have been able to hear from the spiritual master and whatever I could assimilate, I am now describing in glorification of the Lord by pure speech, for otherwise my power of speaking would remain unchaste. So, what a beautiful shloka, especially this line, Yatha Mati Yatha Shrutam. So, he's saying, I don't have the ability. He's saying, in spite of my inability, whatever I have heard from the spiritual master and whatever I have assimilated, now I'm going to share. So, if you can say something about this verse, Maharaj.
See, yatha mati, yatha didam, yatha shrutam
Mhm.
is also is repeated by Vidura here,
Mhm.
by Maitreya here. Even in the beginning, in the third chapter, at the end of the third chapter, first canto, Sutta Goswami also says the same thing,
Yes.
that the Lord is unlimited. And to say that I have completely spoken about the Lord, it is foolishness because you cannot.
Mhm.
How much you can speak, only to the extent whatever you have grasped, you have realized. The example given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is that a bird flies in the sky, and different birds, they can fly at different levels. A sparrow can only fly not very high,
Yes.
but a crow can fly higher, and some birds can fly more higher.
Mhm.
But no bird can claim that I touched the sky.
Mhm.
Only to the extent of their capacity, they fly and then come back. So in the same way, whatever I have heard from my Guru, Yatha Shrutam, though Guru has given so many things, don't think I have spoken everything what my Guru spoke.
Mhm.
And in that, what my Guru spoke, Yatha Mati, what I have understood, according to my intelligence, my capacity, that much I could explain to you.
Mhm.
Mm. To think that I explained everything, that is foolishness.
Mhm.
Right? To think that I have explained everything, that is my foolishness. To you to think that I have explained everything, that is also foolishness.
Okay.
Mm. And why I am doing this thing in spite of my inability to describe Krishna completely, the only purpose of I speaking Bhagavatam, I am speaking to you, is Satkritam, Satkartum.
Mhm.
Satkartum means to purify myself, my
Mhm.
words, uh, which are asatim, which are contaminated.
Mhm.
So I want to purify my words, I want to purify my existence, I want to purify my mind. The
Mhm.
only purpose of I speaking Bhagavatam is to purify myself.
Mhm.
If I don't speak, then what is going to happen? The purpose of I having a jiva, that
Mhm.
is a tongue, will be useless.
Mhm.
That's what is the humility which Maitreya is expressing to Vidura and instructing all the speakers of Bhagavatam to have the same mood.
Mhm. Very nice, Maharaj. Very instructive. So that was going to be my next question because in the next few verses he's saying even Brahma is not able to understand. In fact, Krishna himself is not able to understand himself completely. So I was going to ask then what exactly is the goal of trying to understand and speak, but you said it is for our own purification. So Maharaj, moving on to the next chapter. So we see that the next chapter is titled Further Inquiries by Vidura. So in verse number 2, he's asking a couple of questions. So maybe I'll quote it and then we'll open it up. Vidura uvacha Brahmam katam bhagavataschiन्मात्रस्य विकारिणः लीलया चापि युज्येरन् निर्गुणस्य गुणाक्रियाः. Sri Vidura said, O great Brahmana, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the complete spiritual whole and is unchangeable, how is he connected with the material modes of nature and their activities? If this is his pastime, how do the activities of the unchangeable take place and exhibit qualities without the modes of nature? So Maharaj here is asking two things related to the Lord. How does the Lord engage in material creation without being affected by the material modes? And two, how can the changeless Supreme Lord perform changing actions in this world? So if you can please explain the answer given by Maitreya Rishi Maharaj and then I'll move to the next question asked by Vidura.
Uh, Vidura, he asked this question. Hmm, He is spiritual, number one.
Mhm.
Krishna is spiritual, and he is without change, and is beyond the gunas. How somebody is spiritual, who is transcendental matter, get connected with the gunas? So this is the subject matter of the philosophy of which philosophical problems which all the philosophers are facing. How did the creation happen?
Mhm.
Now, if you say God became this world, transformed into this world, that is called Brahma Parinamvad.
Okay.
That is fails because how can God transform? Because He's non-transformable. Ah, avikara. There is no vikara. So how did the world come into existence? That's it. That's been an eternal question, and there's no proper answer to this.
Mhm.
And all the philosophers tried to answer and came up with so many vadas. First one was Brahma Parinam Vada, that is, Brahman became this world. That is not possible because Brahman is a vikari.
Okay.
Now somebody said, no, 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 the Brahman reflected into this world. But now everything is Brahman, then how can Brahman reflect this world? Because Brahman cannot reflect on itself. For reflection, you need to have an object where it reflects on.
Mhm.
So you cannot reflect on itself because everything is Brahman. So the Pratibimbavada was also having a problem. Then came Parichedavada. That is, no, the Brahman is fragmented. No, how can Brahman get fragmented? Because it is unfragmentable. It
Okay.
is it is one unit. You cannot fragment. And if it's a fragment, why it should fragment? And where did the fragmentation come from? Oh, so many things are there.
Mhm.
So this Parichedavada was also having a problem. Then somebody told, okay, now let us have, forget about God. The Prakriti itself transforms into this world. This Prakriti Parinamvada. Prakriti Parinamvada. But why Prakriti is inert? Why it should transform? There's no desire. So in this, so many problems come. So then came, no, no, God is person. Then He creates this world. Then God is a person and he creates this world. Why he should create this world? Why he has to touch this matter? Hmm? And why he has to act? Because he is Satchidananda. Why he has to act? So, how to solve this problem? The problem can only be solved by accepting God, Krishna, he having potency, he having Shakti. And the Shakti is transformed into this world. So that is why Vidura is asking this question that uh, Krishna is transcendental. At the same time, what is got to do with the modes of nature? Why he should create? How, if he's creating, he should touch the modes of nature. But he's transcendental, is beyond the modes. So this can be answered only by accepting Krishna having Shakti or Shakti Parinamavada. And just a philosophical background behind why this question is asked.
Mhm. Okay. So his next two questions is related to the Jiva. So that is quoted in shlokas 5 and 6. देशतः योऽसौ अवस्थतः स्वतोऽन्यतः अविलुप्तावबोधात्मा सयुज्येत जया कथम्. The pure soul is pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in nescience? Text 6. भगवान् एक एवैष सर्वक्षेत्रेष्वस्थितः अमुष्य दुर्भग अमुष्य दुर्भगवत् भगत्वं वा क्लेशो वा कर्म कुतः. The Lord as the super soul is situated in every living being's heart. Why then do the living entities' activities result in misfortune and misery? So, Maharaj, how can the pure spiritual soul come under illusion and ignorance? And why do jivas suffer in spite of Paramatma being in their heart and being their well-wisher? So, of course, Maitreya Muni gives some very interesting metaphors here. So, if you can please elaborate on the answer.
Yeah, this is a common question everybody asks. If I am Satchitananda, why am I suffering? If I am pure spirit soul, when does the bondage in the body happens? When did it happen? How did it happen? Why the jiva should suffer? That is what is the question asked. And of course, you asked me to answer according to what Maitreya has spoken to Vidura. So when Vidura asked these questions, then Maitreya, he starts answering the questions in a very interesting way.
Right.
The answers what he gives to these are saying that the jiva is always jiva, it is always blissful, but it forgets. Like for example, you have a great wealth, but you forgot where you kept it. Then you are searching somewhere else. What is happening? Suffering. So this is called ignorance. The loss of memory that I am servant of Krishna, then he lands up into this searching my happiness, searching my happiness. And the example is that of a dream. So you're sleeping and in the dream, you find somebody has cut off your head. And wake up. Your head is not cut off, but still you have experience of the head being cut off. So why the dream is there? Because you're sleeping. You forgot. Who are you? The moment you remember who you are, then there is no suffering. That is called ignorance. And now I am thinking that I am a boy, I am a man, I am a woman, I am this. That is why suffering comes. The moment you come to the constitutional position that I am servant of Krishna, which is the nature of the soul, or dukkhanai, there is no question of any suffering. So this is how the example of dream is given to show that you are not suffering, but you experience suffering. Like your head is not cut off, but still you have the experience of the head being cut off. There is no question of any destruction of knowledge and bliss of the jiva. But it is only perceived. Like gold and silver, they never lose their luster.
Okay.
But when you are blind, can you see?
No.
So, that's how is the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, you clearly indicated how Maitreya Rishi said misidentification is the problem, that is false ego. So now the solution presented by Maitreya Muni is so simple. Like Prabhupada used to say, Krishna consciousness is so simple that you may just miss it. So bhakti is the solution. Seems like the problems are complex, but everywhere the solution is given is only one, that is bhakti. So here in the 12th verse, Maitreya Rishi is saying, Savai nivritti dharmena vasudevanukampaya bhagavad bhakti yogena tirodhatte shanairiha. But that misconception of self-identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudeva through the process of devotional service to the Lord in the mode of detachment. So why is bhakti the only solution and the solution for everything? Hearing and chanting about the Lord and performing devotional service.
Yeah, that is the subject matter of Bhagavatam everywhere. Every time this point comes, what is the solution? The solution is only bhakti. Other solutions are only complications, that's all. They are not solutions. They seem to be solutions, but they are only complications. Yeah.
So Maharaj, in the 17th verse, very interesting, Yascha muda tamo loke yascha buddheh param gatah tavubhau sukhamedete klishyatyantharito janah. Both the lowest of the fools and he who is transcendental to all intelligence enjoy happiness, whereas persons between them suffer the material pangs. So this is most of us. We are in between. We are neither the lowest of fools nor are we transcendental. So what do people
Uh,
like me do?
so those who are in ignorance is bliss, they are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. But what kind of bliss is like this? The buffalo. Buffalo is in the it's hot sun,
Mhm.
and the buffalo goes under the a tree, and the leaves are there, which are giving some shade. What does the buffalo do? It eats the leaves.
Mhm.
So the same thing which is giving shade to it, the buffalo is eating.
Mhm.
So you can say the buffalo is very blissful, but
Mhm.
actually in ignorance,
Yes.
bliss in ignorance, that is different from actually bliss in transcendental world.
Mhm.
So our position is in between. And the person who is param, means who is transcendental, he is also happy.
Mhm.
These two persons increase happiness by deriving bliss by material objects or spiritual. But one who wants to attain the bliss, get out of the mental existence, he is always suffering. He's between the two.
Mhm.
Antaritaha suffers in the ocean of doubt by not having either of the bliss. He's having the doubt. What to do? Frustration.
Yeah. So very nicely now in 18th, 19th and 20th sloka, Vidura Mahatma is speaking. But my dear sir, I am obliged to you because now I can understand that this material manifestation is without substance, although it appears real. I am confident that by serving your feet, it will be possible for me to give up the false idea. 19th translation. By serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in the service of the personality of Godhead, who is the unchangeable enemy of the Madhu demon and whose service vanquishes one's material distresses. 20th verse. Persons whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees who are progressing on the path back to the kingdom of Godhead, the Vaikunthas. Pure devotees engage 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of the demigods and the controller of all living entities. So, Maharaj, what is the importance of service to the devotees that Vidura is highlighting here? So, that gaining knowledge is one thing, but however, he is repeatedly emphasizing we should serve the spiritual master, we should serve other devotees, pure devotees. Only then is that knowledge going to get transformed into realization.
Yes, knowledge can be transformed to realization only when there is service. Without service, knowledge cannot be transformed to realization. It is only information. That is why Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tad vidhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnana sattvadarshinaha. Tad vidhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya pariprashnena. While serving, one has to inquire. Like it is like eating food. You eat and then don't work, it doesn't get digested. The same way you get knowledge, but if you don't serve, it doesn't get digested. So these transcendental subject matters, it cannot be understood just by theoretical knowledge. That's realization. That is where Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito, it manifests in the heart by what? By service.
Okay. So Maharaj, now 21 to 38, that's like 18 verses in this chapter, which has 42 verses. So that's a lot of verses, like major chunk. So Vidura asked so many questions. Of course, we'll not get into all the questions now. So my point here was, time and again we see, like Maharaj Parikshit in an earlier chapter in second canto, he asked about 22 questions. Then of course the Sukadeva Goswami answered a few things. But before he could go on to something else, then again, this Shaunakadi Rishis asked something, then Suta Goswami said, then again they started a whole another thing. Now, Vidura Maitreya Samvada. Vidura, even in first chapter of Canto 3, he asked a whole lot of questions to Uddhava. And then Uddhava gave some answers. And then again we see Vidura ask some questions. Again Maitreya Muni. So my point here is, are all these questions being asked, whether it is Parikshit Maharaj, whether it is Shaunaka Rishi, or whether it is Vidura, and further along so many other devotees, are all the loops getting closed eventually in Bhagavatam? It's very difficult to keep track of so many questions and the following answers.
Yeah, Bhagavatam was written by Vyasa in trance. So it is very unsystematic. The reason is, when you are in love and you're in trance, like when a person is drunk, then what he speaks is always haphazard.
Yes.
So Bhagavatam is also like that. It is not the so-called way you say systematic, because it is spoken by Vyasa, written by Vyasa in trance. So we try our best to find out the system and then try to join the dots. And also can be done, it cannot be done very perfectly, because Krishna is unlimited. And the unlimited ways of asking questions about Krishna, unlimited ways of answering about Krishna. So in this way, there are certain connections that can be found out. But to think that it can be perfectly found out, it is not possible.
Okay. So Maharaj, in the very end of this chapter, Vidura is expressing his confidence in faith. That he's saying, oh, so here are my questions and I have confidence that you will be very nicely describing them. So asking questions from our seniors, from Guru Varyas is one thing. But how important it is to have absolute faith and confidence that whatever answer they are going to give me, that I'm going to completely believe that and put that into execution.
So if you don't have that confidence, don't ask. Like if you don't have confidence in a doctor, will you go to the doctor?
No.
If you go to the doctor without confidence, then you are wasting your time and you are offending the doctor. You're wasting his time also. So one should have faith in the authority. He may have doubts on the subject, but not on the authority. So authority are Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And you can have doubts on the subject. That is why when Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita told Arjuna that I gave this knowledge initially to Vivaswan. Vivaswan manave praha manurikshvakve bhavit. Evam parampara prapti radharshu viduhu. This knowledge came in the parampara. When Krishna told this thing, Arjuna had a doubt. What was the doubt? That is, aparam bhavato janma, param janma virsutaha, katam etad vijaniyam tvamado proktavaniti. So Arjuna asked Krishna, aparam bhavato janma, your janma was after Vivaswan, and Vivaswan was born before you. How can I understand that you spoke this knowledge to Vivaswan? The question is not how is it possible? The question was what?
How can I understand?
It is possible because you have said it is possible.
Yes.
The problem is not in you, the problem is in me, in not able to understand it. Can you explain? So this is how questions should be always paripaksha and pratipaksha. Pratipaksha means, how is it possible? It is impossible. You are telling lies. Paripaksha means it is possible because you are told, I have faith that you are speaking truth, but the problem, doubt is not on you, the doubt is on the subject because of my lack of understanding, my lack of intelligence to understand.
Okay. Very nice, Maharaj. Maharaj, just a couple of questions for Anushilanam, practical application. So let's say if I am approaching somebody, now just like you said, yes, we have to have confidence, otherwise don't approach. But for devotees who are in the preaching area, sometimes there are students or others who come to the preacher and ask certain questions. Maybe once, twice, thrice, you see that they're asking, but then they're not really implementing anything. So if you are at the receiving end of the questions, and when you have already noticed there is a pattern that this individual is not going to do anything about it, so what should the preacher do? Not answer them at all, or like what is the right course of action there?
Yeah, it all depends on that preacher's nature and the person who is asking the question, that person's relationship with that
Okay.
person, etc.
Mhm.
It's not just
One
but
solution.
the basic principle will be that uh, uh, to teach people. Sometimes you may have a person in the audience who's asking some question. You know that person is not really sincere,
Right.
but still you answer it, keeping others in mind.
Mhm.
Also,
Mhm.
that also is there.
Okay. And Maharaj, related to the service, so since Vidura was highlighting about the service and you also very nicely explained, so he talked about serving the spiritual master, serving the Lord, and serving the pure devotees. How about serving our fellow sadhakas? They may be senior to you, they may be junior to you, they may be equal to you. How do we serve them with the right attitude?
You serve them because that is your service to your spiritual master.
Mhm.
That is your service to your spiritual master.
Mhm.
You serve them because your spiritual master is giving you the service.
Okay, okay. And one more thing related to the service. So when talking about the various varnas, being the coming from different parts of universal form Virat Rupa, so it said no matter somebody is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but everybody's purpose is to serve the Lord through their service. So how can we transform? You talked about vritti and dharma. So this service to the Lord, is that part of vritti dharma?
Yes, when you are keeping Krishna in the center
Mhm.
and conduct your activities of Varna and Ashrama, that is perfect.
Okay.
Krishna talks about it. Of course, the Puranas talk about Nanyapan Aradhyate Pantha Tattosha Karanam. Vishnunaradhyate Pantha Nanyat Tattosha Karanam.
Mhm.
Paranashamacharvata. So you have to do your activities based on dharma, keeping Krishna for the satisfaction of Krishna.
Okay. How can one find more information, gain more knowledge about this Varna Dharma, Maharaj?
Manusmriti talks about it, many Smritis talk about it, Varna
Okay.
Dharma. Dharma
Mhm.
Shastras talk about it.
Mhm.
What is the Dharma? Even Bhagavatam talks about it. In the
Okay.
7th canto, you have the Dharma of Grihastha, Dharma of Sannyasi, Dharma of Brahmachari, Dharma of Vanaprastha is described. In the Bhagavatam, many places described.
Okay. Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. So, Maharaj, now moving on to the Brahmastra. So, today, since we have been talking about all this cosmic manifestation, various elements related to the cosmos, today's Brahmastra also will be called the cosmic quiz. So, I'll be asking some hypothetical questions. So, if you can please answer them briefly, it will be great, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, if Brahma gave you a department in the universe of your choice, which department would you like to pick for managing? I know you're not so much into management, but if you had to manage a certain department.
Yeah, maybe kitchen department.
Oh, nice. Why, Maharaj? Why kitchen department?
Yeah, because ahara shuddho sattva shuddhi.
Ah,
If your food is pure, your mind is pure, mind is pure, then your words are pure, actions are pure, and you can understand Vedic literatures very nicely.
amazing. Nice connection. Next. Which element out of earth, water, fire, air, ether do you feel most connected with?
Ether.
Ether. Okay, interesting. Number three, what's the most mind-blowing thing about this whole creation that we've been discussing about for you personally?
How the grass forms manifest from the subtle. That is the most interesting part in the entire creation. So the grass manifests on the subtle. This is the formula.
Okay. Very nice. If you had to explain the universal form to a young child, what analogy would you use?
To a child, the universal form, the analogy is very simple. You are on a rocket, sitting on top of a rocket. And the rocket is going up and up and up and up. So describe what all you see.
Oh, so nice. Oh, interesting.
I did it practically.
Oh, you did it? Okay.
Yeah, when I take children program,
Uh-huh.
many initial days, many years I took. I used to put them in there. Everybody just close your eyes.
Nice.
Down, close your eyes. Then now you imagine there's a big rocket. Ah, very nice. And you're sitting on top of the rocket. Oh, they like it.
Yeah.
And then the rocket is going up, up, and up. Now, just imagine what all you're seeing. And then start describing. And then tell me who reached the end of the universe. Who will reach the end of the universe first? Let us see competition. They close their eyes and go on and see the star, moon, that, this, meteoroid, and you go on telling. Then after some time, somebody gets frustrated and then say, now I reached the universe. I reached the top of the universe. Then I say, what are you seeing? Just go beyond the universe. Go above and see what is there.
Fascinating. Sounds like a lot of fun. So Maharaj, next one. If you could switch places with one demigod for one day, who would you choose and why?
Yeah, I would take the place of Saraswati.
Oh, very nice. So next one, seventh one. False ego, intelligence, and mind all are walking into a temple. Who do you think will bow down first and who will refuse to bow down?
False ego will refuse to bow down.
And who will bow down first? Intelligence or mind?
Yeah, very difficult to say. Mind will bow down.
Okay.
Because mind has many desires, and they say, okay, maybe he can satisfy the desires. Let us bow down.
Could be.
It's very tricky. He bow down once and again doesn't bow down.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Suppose material nature, Prakriti had an exclusive WhatsApp group. Who do you think will be the admin of the group?
Rajoguna.
Rajoguna, okay. Makes sense.
Keep everybody active.
Yes. If Lord Brahma had a hobby outside of creation, because we know he's very busy creating, but if he had a hobby outside of creation, what would you think that hobby would be?
Yeah, his main hobby is to please Krishna.
Hmm.
Because he's a devotee of Krishna. He does creation only for the purpose of satisfying the Lord. He's a great devotee. He's to please Krishna.
Okay. If mind and intelligence had a heated debate, who do you think would win? The mind will win or the intelligence will win?
The mind will win.
Why, Maharaj? I thought intelligence. No, intelligence uses its discriminatory
Yeah,
mind.
material mind has so many thoughts, mental speculation. Yeah. Okay. Intelligence has to be sharpened. Generally, dull intelligence. So mind will tease the intelligence, make the intelligence get frustrated.
Okay. Since you travel a lot, I mean really a lot. So let's say you are on a long flight, 8-hour long flight, and you ended up sitting between Vayu on one side, Agni on the other side. How will you manage the cabin temperature?
I'll ask the Vayu to speak Krishna Katha. Madhvacharya.
So that's a brilliant answer. Very, very nice. Very profound answer also. After all the creation, dissolution, and the cosmic drama, what is the one thing the soul is really looking for?
To love the person who created the creation.
Jai. So beautiful. And finally, if this creation is a divine play, which it is a divine play. So what role are you happy to play in Krishna's Leela?
In the creation.
Hmm.
Creation, what role?
Yes.
Yeah, planning.
Okay. Planning what?
Yeah, planning how to get the conditioned souls back to God.
Okay. Very nice. Apt. That's it, Maharaj. So that wraps up the Brahmastra segment. So thank you once again, Maharaj. Thank you so much for taking the time week after week, and you're enlightening us, and especially on such technical topics, quote unquote technical topics. So there we go, devotees. Hare Krishna. We are wrapping up the discussion on chapter 6 and 7 of Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So next week, when we come back, we will see the creation of Brahma. So how Brahma is going to come from the lotus navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then the Visarga part, how he is going to do his part of the creation, and so many other interesting concepts coming up. So don't go anywhere. Please join us in the next episode, the 41st episode. We will catch you soon. Until then, stay inquisitive and stay Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.